Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rise Up Show. Today, it's episode 175, and today I'm hosting an expert on a relationship. He's a relationship coach who started not long ago, but he's on his way. He makes a lot of progress in a very short time, and he started with being feeling stuck, and he had a hell of a road when his girlfriend ditched him, and he kept on going and self-developed himself to an amazing relationship coach he is today. So please welcome Jay. Hey Jay, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be on this. This is cool. Exciting to do something like this.
So tell us the short version on who you are.
Sure. So, well, I'm Jay Gatto, and I'm a relationship coach and teach self-empowerment. So I got started doing coaching and self-development when I was 23. I found myself in a really bad depression. It was so interesting because my whole life leading up to this point, I was super happy and always enthusiastic and very like go-getter attitude and just positive. And then somehow I found myself into this place of being like miserable. I got to the point of having suicidal thoughts, and I was watching Netflix like 8 hours a day. I was going to
I'm familiar with that, yeah.
Yeah, the binge, man, it's real. And it would like I would feel bad doing it, and it would make me feel bad. So then I would keep doing it, and then it like was like the cycle, and it it was just so like it would drain my energy because I would feel bad, so I didn't want to do anything, and so it was like this low energy cycle, and that was intense with it. But so yeah, and then at one point when I like finally reached my I guess you call it rock bottom that was mine. I tried to run away basically, like so I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and I tried to go do whitewater raft guiding in the middle of the forest for a summer to try and like clear my head and think things out. So I tried to like break up with her without breaking up with her, and like tell her to just I'll be back in a couple months. It was just this big deal. But like seeing how badly that affected her, it like really struck a chord and kind of like snapped me out of that funk. It had been about 3 years in this kind of funk. And so after I did that, it kind of like snapped me out, and I was like, dang, I gotta fix this. Like I gotta do something here. This isn't gonna work anymore. And so that was kind of the breaking point and the start of like my self-development journey and what led me to here.
Nice. I'm sure that really was rough, all that you've been through, but this place really took you forward from that darkest moments.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was so new because I never really felt any of those emotions as a like young kid. So getting to this point, it was so new and unfamiliar that it was actually like scary. And because I didn't understand it, I didn't know like what the emotions were, what the feelings I was having were, and I didn't know really how to express them and feel safe exploring them. It was kind of the only thing I knew how to do was push them away and just be happy. But doing that over time, they like built up until I felt like I was going to explode on the bottom. And then that's when like I hit that bottom and it all kind of like catalyzed into new stuff. So
yeah, it's only when we get really into the bottom, and I hope not everyone will get there to really start to do something, but when we hit rock bottom, then we start to say, okay, it's or we stay in that shitty place or we grow and start to develop from that place. And that's amazing that you decided to go on that journey and decide to go and do something about it and not stay at the same old place, binging on Netflix all day and feeling like shit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like humans respond to pain more than we respond to the idea of pleasure. So
Yeah.
pain has to almost get bad enough
That's fucked up, but yeah.
It is. Well, so one of my favorite books is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Have
Hmm.
you read
Yeah,
that book?
I heard about it. Yeah.
His idea is that people are always like swimming to keep their head above water, and then when things get really bad, it's like they're sinking. So then they're like, oh shit, I'm sinking, and then they do everything they have to do. Like they change their attitude, their habits, they change their patterns to get their head above water. And then the second they
Yeah.
get their head above water, they're like, okay, I can take a break. And then they stop doing all the things that got them above water. When really, if they would just keep doing it, they would actually make it to like that level of success. And so
Yeah.
we're always like this. When we realize we can just like constantly stay at like in a trajectory towards success. And that book
Yeah.
was actually the first book that I read after I decided to change my life. And
Nice.
that idea is something that has always stuck with me, resonated.
Wow. Yeah, it's on my list. I got to read it. Sounds very interesting about those bumps. But that's so true. People have all those bumps on the road, but sometimes they don't even notice what to do with it, and they keep on the same patterns all over again. I remember the same thing that happens to me with binging on Netflix all day long. I felt like shit, was watching on the sofa, wasting my time and my life, and just felt like crap, disappointed for myself all that time. And when you start to hit that rock bottom, bam, you understand it and start to do with it. And exactly, like you said, read that book, gave you the tools, and then from there you start growing up. That's amazing journey. So how did you start your business?
Sure. So in 2000, the winter of 2017, I was a chef and I lived in Europe for a year to
Chef.
cook. And yeah, so I went to culinary school after high school, went to Europe to cook after culinary school, came back, was the executive sous chef of a really successful restaurant in Florida, in my hometown. And then I moved to Asheville, where I live now, and I did some cooking, but I quit after a few months because I didn't really want to do cooking anymore. It wasn't the life I wanted. Um, so like fast forward a year, it's like end of 2017, and I created I called it kitchen counseling. So it was a way for me to
Okay.
use, instead of teaching, like, it wasn't teaching necessarily nutrition and health, it was teaching how to cook in the kitchen in like a simple, healthy, affordable, and real way that was actually realistic to someone's lifestyle. But also, of course, I was teaching mindset and nutrition as like part of it,
Hmm.
using culinary and cooking because that's what I'm an expert at, is as the meat of the course. So that was how I started. But then I still wasn't really in a place where I was confident with who I was and what I was doing, and I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily. So I kind of let that go, and then I went to UPW, Tony Robbins UPW, in
Hmm.
November this last year, and decided after that I was going to finally actually do the coaching that I've been wanting to do for 2.5 years or 3 years, but I've been too scared to do. And then I actually I took his course, the Core 100. It's Robbins and Adonis training, which Chloe
Hmm.
Adonis is one of the top like 20 therapists in the entire world. She's written several books, and she's really world renowned in the therapy world. She does a lot of family and relationship therapy is like her main.
Nice.
Um, and so a lot of that course was actually relationship coaching, and I didn't realize that it was going to be like that when I bought it.
Yeah.
And so throughout doing that, I realized how cool and interesting and intriguing like the dynamics of relationships are. And this is really like how we relate with people in all aspects, whether it's like you're in my relationship with the neighbors, with friends, with
Hmm.
family, with like my partner,
Yeah.
my boss, like all of it. And so it was so fascinating to me, and I realized like that's what I want to help with, because if I can help someone with how they relate to the people around them and how they relate to themselves, that's going to
Hmm.
change not only their life but everyone around them. And so
Right.
way that I saw it was, and the way it clicked in my head was that if I could work on these people with their relationships, then I would have the most impact in their life.
Love it. Yeah, that's what people think about when they think about relationship. They think about only the relationship between partners and all that. But actually, everything is relationship with our family. It's not intimate as with partners, but it's the same thing with family, friends, boss, like you mentioned. And that's the place when people fall apart,
Mm-hmm.
when they fall between and don't understand that it's the same thing. Also with clients, that's very important. People, start to run away, run from like, I want money, 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 money. Start to be really needy. And also when you're needy in relationship, that's like a bad thing to be in, because that's like push away your partner. So it's the same thing with clients. It's just pushing away,
Yeah.
like needy, 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 money, money, money. Okay, whoa, get away from me. I will go to
Yeah.
someone else who's not needy as you, and he know his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it puts a weird strain, like especially in intimate relationships with neediness. It
Hmm.
it's like at some level it's healthy and okay to want validation from your partner or from your boss or from your parents. Like
Yeah.
at some point validation is healthy, but then when it becomes this regular thing, it's almost like it's like a hit of a drug. Like you get validation and it feels good, and then it's like, okay, well I need more of that. So then you do things to get the validation, and then you're
Yeah.
just basically like it's basically you're like you're doing drugs and getting that drug that gives you that fix, so then you want it more, and it puts an unfair strain on the other person because then their job is no longer to like love you and be there with you and experience life together. It's I'm just serving that person's drug habit, right?
Yeah.
And so it's fine to a point, but knowing where that line is and understand being right with yourself to be able to validate yourself is so important in every relationship, especially like in a business relationship, because you're not going to get that validation from people as much. Like your boss isn't going to every day
True.
walk in and give you a pat on the back and say, great job.
Yeah.
Most likely it's not going to happen. So like you have to validate
It's one.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little tangent about neediness.
I would like to hear more about that validation. I'm sure our audience as well. Like, how can we get to from that needy place to the place that we don't need that validation to know that we are good and better, and we know we are worth it.
Yeah. So one, understanding like what it takes to say to like, so we all have beliefs about what success is and what
Yeah.
worthiness is. Like what does it take for me to feel successful? Does it take me to wake up at 6 a.m. and do my morning routine and complete my 2 or 3 priorities for the day and then spend some time with my girlfriend and then work out and go to bed? Or does it
To
take
feel control on your day. Yeah.
or does it take me to complete this massive, gigantic idea all in a day? And if I don't complete that, then I'm a failure, right? So, but then the same goes for validation. Like, what does it take to feel validated? Can I validate myself by appreciating where I'm at, what I'm doing, and how I'm doing it? Because if we're always looking for that person, that thing outside of us to validate, we're giving away responsibility of ourselves to other people, right? And so ultimately, we're responsible for the way we think and feel and do. And if I'm in a place where I am happy with myself and I believe that I'm enough, it comes down to believing that you're enough. Because if I believe that I'm enough, then I know that what I'm doing is good and then I'm validated. But if I don't feel like I'm enough, then I don't want to, and I don't talk to myself and give myself the affirmations and the own internal talk that says I'm enough, and I'll look outside for it.
Can you
And
share with us some little trick that people can start to implement from today, like to start validate themselves and not need that validation from the outside?
absolutely. So the first thing I would say to do is to recognize where the unworthiness is. Like, do you, what aspects do I feel unworthy and why? Like, when did I decide that I'm not worthy, or what in my past showed me or happened that made me say, okay, from that point on, I'm not worthy. Recognize where it's coming from is the first step, because in order to know because the point where the unworthiness comes from is also the point where the healing enters. And so if I feel unworthy in my work because one time in the past I tried my best and failed and someone told me I sucked, and then now from that point on, I'm now not worthy and I keep living like that, I have to address that and go back to that and say, you know what, no, I did it right. It just didn't happen, and that's okay. I'm good enough, And so recognizing where that feeling comes from, and the self-talk that happens when you feel unworthy, because a lot of times we have the way we talk to ourselves actually will incite the feeling that we need. And so if we need so if we are feeling in a sense invalidated or unworthy, there's a certain pattern of sentences and thoughts going through our mind and in our feelings. So recognize that, okay, right now I'm feeling unworthy. What am I saying to myself? How am I feeling? What would it feel like to be worthy? What would I say to myself if I felt worthy, if I felt good enough? And then okay, I'm going to say these sentences. I'm going to say these things like I am good enough, and that is a step to like switching it.
Love it. Bam, really love that golden nugget. And also I want to add a little thing to it, like to recognize sometimes we are not able to do it alone. So, or we can find an accountability body or a mentor that can help in that place, like to really recognize it. And sometimes journaling can help a lot in that specific place. Like it's kind of a therapy when you're journaling about it, to see where it comes from deep inside and what to do next.
Yeah, that's great. And journaling actually for me was one of the, like, for anyone who's battling with depression or anxiety. So for me, one of the first things I started doing was right when I wake up, I go sit on the couch, I grab my notebook, and I start journaling. And I don't really judge it, or I don't plan anything. I don't have like necessarily a structure to it. It's just right when I wake up, my head is just instantly spinning with thoughts. So all it is just like vomiting these thoughts out. It's a brain dump. It's to get rid of the extra energy, because thoughts are energy. So it's like getting rid of all the extra energy in my head so that I can clear space for like grounded, conscious action and feeling. And that's really, that was probably one of like the most monumental exercises in helping me go from depression to not being depressed.
Yeah, it helps a lot. It's like so powerful tool that I myself disregarded. I like said to myself, I don't know if that's good enough. Like I don't know if it can help me. So I start research it. I start to see the tons of good mentors, amazing mentors out there doing that journaling, and that it helps them through their journey. And when I saw it, I said, okay, I got to try it. People like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Mel Robbins, and so much more people so much more great mentors that really recommend it because they do it themselves, and it helps them a lot. And when I saw it, and when I start with it, bam, it shifted my mind like that, and I didn't even notice it. It was amazing shift. And like you said, doing it on the morning, it's very interesting. I never tried it on the morning. I do it like before I go to sleep, but it's very interesting to try it first thing on the morning.
Yeah, because I noticed that I went like by the end of the day, I'm fine. And this is something I noticed when I was like in a really big place of living, just like super depressed and had like a really powerful anxiety inside.
Yeah.
I would wake up and I would feel bad all the way until like 3 p.m. or like right in the early afternoon. And then by that time, I had enough stuff going on in the day that I was distracted where I wouldn't think about it again for a while.
Yeah.
So for me, what what I noticed was if I could find a way to get rid of the anxiety and depression for the first half of my day, I would be fine for the rest of the day. So waking up and just starting my day with expressing all of that pent up energy and emotion,
Yeah.
that was why I ultimately started to do it in the morning.
Nice. I will give it a try on the morning. I also have the morning routine. That's very important. It helps you keep that drive, like a straight thing, to get that energy on the morning, because sometimes we feel like in low energy, but
Yeah.
the morning routine gives you like the pumped up. And I will add it to my morning routine and give it a shot. I love that, to try it on the morning, vomiting
Yeah. And
everything out.
yeah, so my girlfriend actually, she does journaling is a big thing for her. She has like a journaling course and teaches journaling and stuff. But
Yeah.
the Insight Timer app, I use the Insight Timer and I get like a high frequency theta wave music from it, which you could use YouTube. And I listen to
Yeah.
that while I journal now, which before I
Nice.
didn't. But just having that like really tranquil and good frequencies in my head and in my brain, it really helps to like just get in the zone and really get
Nice.
deeper.
Nice. Love it. Ben, people, try it. Do journaling. If you haven't started with journal, do start today. It will help you tremendously to overcome a lot of obstacles in your life, because then you also see what you're doing wrong. Not wrong, but when you're mistaking, and then fix that mistake as well. And also all that self-development, and
Yeah.
really get out from depression and all that shit.
And something,
uh,
can I add something about the
yeah,
see where you're going wrong
go
sentence?
ahead. Yeah.
So something that's been coming up for me lately is the level of honesty that we allow ourselves to
Yeah.
have with ourselves is directly related to the quality of our life, because something that I
Hmm.
wasn't, and this is just for me and I know a lot of other people do this, because I felt unsafe with the emotions I was feeling. I
Yeah.
also wasn't honest about where I was at. I wasn't honest with the fact that I didn't feel good. I wasn't honest with the fact that everything I was doing in my life was the reason I was unhappy. I wasn't being honest, and so I would lie to myself and say, "Oh no, I'm not depressed. It's fine." Because identity I had was
Yeah.
I'm Jay Gatto. I don't get depressed. I'm happy. That's who I am. I'm a happy person. And that level of dishonesty with myself contributed greatly to the dark hole that I was in. And
Hmm.
and this goes with any situation, I think, any with whether it's business or relationship or whatever, like being completely honest, only way to truly break the cycle, the destructive cycle that you're in, whatever the cycle is. If you're not completely honest about the situation and you don't get completely honest about the reasons and the thoughts and the feelings, it will
Yeah.
always repeat itself because you're not actually
Definitely.
facing the problem. And so if you fix it on one front, you're going to come back to it because you're not being honest about that thing.
Yeah. I can't agree more. That's so true. It reminds me when I was fat. I was really large when I was a kid, and when I didn't saw it, I said to myself, "I have big bones." Like
Yeah,
that. I
classic.
didn't say I have a problem. Yeah, that was a classic one. I all the time said to myself, "Yeah, I'm a kid with big bones. That's it. That's my problem. I don't need to lose weight." And I was overweight. And when it struck down, when I got to nutrition, and she helped me through that process, but also the decision is very important if you don't decide to do something about it. But she helped me to see more, not flaws, but all that mistakes that I didn't want to be really honest
Yeah.
with myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Like,
that's
for
so.
example, eating salads. She said, for example, eat salad. So I did, okay, but I didn't notice that I'm eating the wrong salad. For example, I gained another 2 pounds, and I said to myself, "Wait, I just stick to the method. What is going on?" And she said, "Okay, let's dissect it." And then she saw the salads was the wrong thing. I ate a lot of salads with a lot of carbs, with potatoes with
Mm.
mayo and all that shit. And this mistake I haven't saw it because I haven't been honest with myself.
Right. Right. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, it's a salad, it's healthy, and then dump 1,000 calories worth
Yeah,
of ranch dressing on it and make it worse than if you would have just eaten something else.
exactly. So, what keeps you with that momentum? What drives you to be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, so that's a good question. For momentum, for me, is an interesting thing because I am really good at getting into this state of like grind where it's just like go,
Mm,
go, go. It doesn't matter if I'm being productive as long as I'm going,
yeah.
it's fine. But then it's like it's almost not okay. And so for me, my momentum, I get momentum really easily, but I also can get momentum in the wrong direction easily. Uh, I can pick up a habit really quickly and I can drop a habit quickly. So
Mm,
um, my important things. So in the morning, I wake up and take a shower, and I do a cold rinse. So it's a normal shower, and then I turn the faucet to cold for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I get out of the shower.
yeah.
And that's amazing. That really like learning how to turn it on cold and just breathe and not get like shaky and not like get cold, but just relax and feel it as being cold, but not becoming the cold. That has been
Yeah.
like really powerful practice for me that I've been doing for a couple months. And then I go and I do a journaling and meditation, and I do like 10 minutes of yoga in the morning,
Nice.
and that's my morning routine, and that really helps me just set the tone for the day. Um,
Mhm.
and in that morning routine, I listen to like Les Brown or someone during my yoga session, which is just 10 minutes of
Nice.
that, which is really nice to hear that there's like affirmations and stuff. And
Yeah.
I actually just started adding in was doing affirmations. So doing more like consciously when I'm listening to stuff like that, saying it with them instead of just listening, but actually repeating it back. And so I just started that this morning actually. So that's something new. Um, for me, it's really important to have a plan for the day, but I don't
Hmm.
do like time management. I do priority management.
Perfect.
So I like basically make a list of everything I need to do, and then I decide what is actually a priority. Like what are the things that are actually going to take me to where I'm going, and what's the stuff that isn't
Love it.
important at all. And then
Hmm.
I kind of rank those priorities 1 to 10 or however many there are, and then I do them in order. What's first, what's second, by their priority level. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's something that gets really that's really helpful for me because I'm really good at just putting a bunch of stuff in the schedule and then like getting nothing done and then feeling like crap because there was so much going on. So this is a way for me to shrink my to-do list and really focus on the important things. Um, and and then for momentum and continuing going, definitely knowing that like I have a goal and
Hmm.
being clear on my goal. Because when I notice that when I'm not clear, I become uncertain about what actions I need to take. And then when I'm uncertain about this, I either hesitate or I procrastinate or I start to overthink. And so being really clear about where I'm going, even if it's for the day, like, okay, what do I want to be like at the end of the day? Where do I want to be? And
Yeah.
then where do I want to be at the end of the week? Where do I want to be at the end of the month? And this is something that I'm definitely still, it's a practice for me. This is something that I'm still working on like mastering. But I do know that this is a really helpful thing for me when I get it down, when I get it clear, when I follow it, then it's a lot smoother. I feel more in the flow of things rather than all my energy being in my head and overthinking.
Yeah.
That is like a huge thing for me because that kills uncertainty and lack of clarity kills momentum 100% of the time.
Definitely. 100%. When you are not clear, that's for sure. And exactly like you said with prioritizing, while a lot of people tend to think that they're very productive, they're doing hours of work, but they don't really do the necessary actions. like what I like to call AI. That means income actions.
Income
Like
actions, yeah.
what is the income actions you're doing? Are you doing the really actions that need to do, or you're just being kind of productive? And for example, I used to treat reading a book as an action, and I saw myself as productive, and
Mm.
that's a hell not true. It's a
Mm.
learning state. It's very important. I'm not disregarded. I'm reading every day, but it's not an action that is productive. It will get you more information, more knowledge, what you need, but do it on the way. Hear it on audible um, or just 10 minutes a day, but that's not the main thing. So like finding
Absolutely.
those income actions and really prioritizing, like you just said,
Yeah, and
$100.
I think it's really easy to get stuck in like the grind mode, like hustle. Like
Yeah.
if you're grinding, when I think of the word grind, and this is, I think I grinded half of February because I was like really wanting to progress fast, and so grinding felt like like if I bit down as hard as I possibly could and then like grinded my teeth as hard as possible. Or like when you're driving a manual stick shift car and you miss the gear and it goes, you know, the
Love the
clutch.
metaphor.
That
Definitely.
is what it feels like to me when I say I'm grinding for my goal. Like I don't want to grind. And I used to think, and this is like a newer thing for me, like even as far as like a month ago, like I don't want to grind. Grinding, I don't want to live my life grinding. That feels painful and annoying, and that makes me feel burnt out thinking about it. But what doesn't feel burnt out is working, you know, a few hours a day of just really quality work and then
Mhm.
spending the rest of my day enjoying myself and being, because ultimately like you're an entrepreneur because
Yeah.
you don't want to work for someone else. You don't want to live your entire life working a 40-hour week. You don't want to
Damn
be
right.
told what to do, and you want to have the money you want. So like
Yeah.
grinding 80 hours a week, that's why I left being a chef. If I wanted to work 80 hours a week, I could do that and I could make 60, 70, $80,000 a year, but I don't, like that's not cool. That doesn't feel good. What feels good
Yeah.
is figuring out a system to where I'm productive and I work 5 hours a day maybe. And I'll be honest, I don't want to work 80 hours. I want to work a couple hours a day and my life. But like finding the ways to be productive and then just doing the stuff that actually gets the work done so that you can
Yeah.
reduce the time that you're working so that you don't have to grind or hustle, because that whole idea of entrepreneurs hustle is like
Yeah.
have to do that.
Well, we have to put those hours exactly like you said, but when we're changing like the phrases in our brain, it becomes more fun. For example, instead of treating it as grind or hustle, we can say we're playing the game, because it
Mm,
is a game. It's a game that we love. It's a thing
right.
that we are doing from our passion and not from chasing the money or shit like that. And
Yeah.
of course, the money is very important. I'm not disregard the money. The money will come as is your passion, and you do it from the heart, and it's really resonate with you. It will show to your client as well when you're passionate about a thing, or you do it just for the money. So like you said, playing the game, having the fun, and that's how you do it. And not the grind. When you just focus on the grind, 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 it feels
Yeah.
sucks.
And then like working, feeling like, I think part of that feeling comes from working when you know you need to rest and
Yeah,
working when just to be working because you think that working is going to get your, like that's the only way to get there. Like it's almost like a lack of patience.
yeah,
It has to happen tomorrow, even though realistically it actually can't happen tomorrow. Whatever that goal, that 5-year goal,
yeah,
wanting it to be tomorrow, like urgency and you know consistency and persistence is one thing, but then like muscles grow when we take a day off. Muscles grow when
yeah,
we rest. The brain needs
yep,
rest to come up with the creative and powerful ideas. And if we don't, and so like the grind, I think also comes from like not taking the days off and doing
hmm,
those excessive amount of hours when really we don't need to put that much. You would get so much more out of taking some time off. It's like in
yeah,
the 4 hour, the way they talk about in the 4 hour work week is like
hmm,
it's something like he spends 4 hours working, and then the rest of the week he's like thinking and coming up with ideas until like and just kind of contemplating until the right thing comes, and then he
True.
takes it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that you need to put up the time for it, but don't like burn yourself out, because if you burn yourself out, it won't be worth it. After that, you will need to treat yourself in the burnout instead of focusing on your business and how to grow it.
Right.
So, like you said, focusing up, prioritizing, that's the places that we can grow the most and really see what are to be productive, but on time, not on the things that are really produce something, some results. So, what was your biggest struggle you experienced, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so for me, I think the biggest struggle was deciding first how I want my business to run. And by that, I mean like how I want it to feel. Like if I'm doing things that don't feel good, I'm going to be unhappy with my business. So being honest about how I want my business to feel, and then making the decisions based on that, not based on what everyone, all my mentors are saying, not based on what all the stuff I read and all the stuff I see and all the opinions of others, but basing it on what feels right. And that's something that I'm still working on. And actually over the last like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I've had a big kind of shift in that. But then also knowing the small, like the best options of what to do in each moment. Like I guess the income activities, knowing exactly which ones were going to be the best. And I think I overcomplicated it a lot by overthinking it because I wasn't 100% clear. So then I started overthinking and overanalyzing, and then I did a bunch of, work that wasn't really getting anywhere. It was more just backpedaling or walking sideways.
True.
So yeah, so I think just knowing the how of how to start a new business, being my first business. So that's probably the biggest obstacle. And I think overcoming it so far has just been consuming all the free content possible and hiring people and working with other coaches who are doing like kind of trades with other coaches, mastermind together, and modeling those who are where I want to be.
Okay, love it.
So seeing what those people are doing successfully, and then deciding, okay, well, with where I'm at, what can I do of this? What can I implement now? What can I model after this to have the same structure, but then, plug my own information in?
Yeah, make it your own and not copying it.
Yeah, and so that's been that's probably the biggest thing. So I did a one funnel away challenge with ClickFunnels. It's like a 30-day teach you how to do ClickFunnels thing.
Yeah.
And I'm probably never going to make my own ClickFunnel, but the course was cool because it taught a lot about sales and marketing and psychology and how to build your story.
Yeah,
and
they're great.
Yeah, and it was so
ClickFunnels,
cool.
Kajabi, they're both great. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so cool. And that helped me a lot with being able, and in that course, because they talk about modeling, and they part of the challenge, one of the homework assignments is to go find like 5 mentors or people who are doing what you want to be, or who are where you want to be. And then basically you look at their website and you basically you write down, okay, they have a purple banner across the top. They have 2 pictures. You basically analyze it and see their structure. And
because it's very important to see what other people see your competition, because if you don't see and don't know who is your competition, how do you know what to do? How do you know how to grow? How do you know to do something different?
Yeah, exactly. And that was cool because it's so simple to do that, but it's like something that I think is, at least for me, until I saw that, I was like, oh, I would never have thought of that. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So that would probably be
and that's great that you also mentioned that you understood that not just the free stuff, but also when you're commit to someone, you commit to a mentor that can give you those tools and really understand that you need some help. You can't do it all alone, because it's the same thing when we, for example, get ill. We go to the doctor, to the expert,
Mhm.
to see if it's something worse, how can we fix it, what's wrong. Same here. When we
Yeah.
need that place of the expert.
Sorry, the sun came through my window.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
yeah, and I've seen that like model your competition, model what works before, but the way that I learned it in the course, the way we had it spelled out, and they showed us like this is how you model. That was actually helpful because it's like, okay, cool, model, do what they're doing. Well, how do I do what they're doing? You know, it's like I see what they're doing, but how do I do that? You know, and so having it broken down was really helpful for me.
Love it. So we are coming to the end of the interview, and I want to ask you, if you can go back in time, what advice will you give to your younger self?
Sure. So the first thing I would say is to just be honest with yourself. Don't like if it feels good, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't complicate it by thinking. Just
True.
do what feels good. Be honest
Yeah,
about that. Like that's the easiest way to make yourself depressed or make yourself happy is just do what feels good.
love
Um,
it.
and the other thing I would say is there is no failure unless you give up. Like you can
Mm.
failure, mistakes, it's all currency to basically buy success later. Like
It's all the part of the road. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like when something goes wrong, learn from it and apply that knowledge. It doesn't have to be, and then don't bring it with you. Like don't bring the
yeah,
experience with you, bring the learned lesson with you.
exactly.
Because
Same
I
with
think it,
relationship, business, everything.
everything, because we have so many experiences that shape us, and if we only decide to like if we really just get honest about the situation and say, okay, this is what happened, this is what
Yeah,
the role I played in causing the situation, or if you didn't play a role because shit happens, you know, like
yeah,
it's not your fault that you got sideswiped in a car and broke your leg, but like what can you learn from that? You can learn forgiveness, you can learn gratitude that you're alive, you can learn,
yeah.
you know, so take the lesson that you can learn with you and leave the pain behind, because the pain can teach you, but once it teaches you, it doesn't, you don't need it anymore.
Love it. Really amazing, man. And if you had one chance to deliver the one message that will stay written in history, what will it be?
hmm. I would say the lesson to stay written in history would be just be nice. Like be nice to yourself,
Hmm.
be nice to everyone else. Like we're all doing the best we can with what we have. Brene Brown says that, and that like resonates hard with me because whether you're in like middle school or college or we're in life, like everyone wants certain things. Everyone wants to
Yeah,
feel like everyone wants to feel love and everyone wants to feel free. And the role that we can't control what other people do or think or feel, but we can always just be nice and
have compassion to ourselves.
yeah, have compassion and empathy and like they're going through their own stuff and you know everyone has their own experience. Just be
Yeah,
nice to them and that's it, and let people be nice to you, and that's like treat others the way you want to be treated. The golden rule, I guess, is what it comes down to. That rule is the golden rule. Be
that's
nice.
so true, because if you don't forgive yourself and you're not nice to yourself, how can you be nice to others? How can you forgive others? How can you really have this relationship with others if you can't be nice to yourself? Love
Yeah,
it.
and like you know when people are doing things or in a bad place and they do something
Hmm.
that's hurtful, they're not actually trying to hurt you. It's because that's their own pain. And if you can recognize that, and that's where like
Yeah.
the compassion and empathy, like be nice to the people even when they're not nice. And
Hmm.
you know that
Definitely.
I think that's what changes the world, maybe.
That's so true. Also, with clients, for example, people tend to say, for example, one client don't want to be with you because it doesn't resonate with you. The product doesn't talk to him. So what? First of all, first of all, it's not about you. It's about him. So
Hmm.
if it's not good for him, people start to shout and really curse. Don't, why? You ruin yourself, you ruin your image. Nobody will work with you. Like you said, be nice to yourself, be nice to others, because it's not about you at the end of the things, especially in business and in partnership and everything.
Absolutely.
So, Jay, how can people know more about you?
Sure. So I have a Facebook group called Grow Getter Development. Grow Getter is my brand.
Nice.
And I have a ebook that I'll be releasing this week along with
Hmm.
an announcement for my membership community. It's a relationship coaching membership community, and in that we're gonna have a lot of extra stuff. I'll have other coaches coming in, 6 live trainings each month. So it's gonna be a really great experience, a really great opportunity for people who are new to coaching or are ready for um, a community to grow and have support and have an accountability group and
Nice.
really go to the next level of where they want to be. And then um, also working one-on-one with me. You can reach me by sending me a message on Facebook, but I think there'll be links on this video to all of that. So
Nice.
follow the links.
Love it, man. So, everyone, if you want to know more about Jay, all the links will be in the description below. And thank you, Jay, for being here. I loved to interview you. It was amazing time here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks
And
for
and people, if you like to know more about him, like I said, the links are in the description below. And if you like this interview, give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to get more tools to your arsenal. And have an amazing and productive day. Thank you, Jay, for being here.
yeah, thank you.